Greetings, metal maniacs, and welcome back to Into the Pit. Today I'd like to share with you some of my favorite riffs from the greatest thrash albums, in my opinion, of all time. I'm going to do it in sessions, so today will be part one. We're going to kick off with the mighty Heathen, and I'm going to be focusing on guitar riffs from their album, the second full-length album, Victims of Deception. Amazing. I'm just going to give you a medley of some of the riffs. Crushing guitars by Lee Altus and his guitar partner at the time. They've never regained that sound ever again. For me, it's a wall of sound. I don't know how they do it, or how they did it. It must be multi-tracking, I don't know, or proper miking. I have no idea. Yet that album remains a thrash milestone, in my opinion. Heavy yet melodic, but just jam-packed with monster riffs and monster melodies, monster guitars. I'm just focusing on the ferocious riffs in this series. I'm not focusing on melodies and harmonies and the melodic riffs at all. Just the chunky, crunchy riffs, the classic, what you actually want from your favorite thrash metal album. So definitely a milestone there by Heathen. Here we go. Have a listen. And do let me know if you agree. Maybe you beg to differ, or maybe you have other Heathen songs that you like. So I'm always looking forward to hearing from that. We're going to move on to Heathen now, and we'll be back shortly afterwards. Another band that you cannot ignore when you're talking about riffs is Anthrax. I'm going to be focusing on Among the Living, which is still to this day probably my favorite Anthrax album, followed shortly by, I must say, Persistence of Time. I think Persistence of Time is one of the heaviest albums. I'll be focusing more on that in a future session. But I've selected a couple of riffs from Among the Living. I mean, who can ignore Gordon and Marsh, Indians, and another killer track, Imitation of Life. So apparently Charlie Benanti wrote most of the riffs. I always thought it was Scott Ian, but apparently from what you say, I think I heard a lot of it comes from Charlie. Nevertheless, crushing guitar sound. I think Eddie Kramer produced Among the Living. Yeah, Anthrax. Up to a point, they had that really signature Anthrax guitar sound. I think that got lost a little bit over the last 2-3 albums. It's just not really, aside from Joey Belladonna's signature voice, obviously, but the guitars, if you took Joey away, it doesn't have that distinct Anthrax sound for me anymore. The same goes for Heathen with the follow-up, the Blight, Blind Leading the Blind. That's the very MIDI, very digital sounding guitars. I don't know, not really up my alley. It's especially when they've had such a ferocious sound with supposedly inferior production technology way back then. You know, if you ask me, it's still. Same goes for Morris sound. You know, it's like they just knew how to get a wall of sound and just fat guitars. Anyway, before I digress and dive too deep into that, let's listen to some Anthrax riffs. Like I said before, I just did a rough medley on this. This is not like DJ style, high quality crossfades or anything. I just put it together somehow. So enjoy it. And obviously, as with Ethan, let me know what you think. There's another band, which most of you probably don't know, Gamaside from Texas. Yeah, they only brought out one full length, as far as I know, called Victims of Science, not Victims of Deception, Ethan. This is Victims of Science. I would have loved for this band to continue and at least give us another 2-3 albums. Jam-packed with riffs, great hooks, great songs. Some of the musos went on to form Warbeast with Bruce Corbett, I think it was, from Rigor Mortis. And I think Warbeast did 2 albums, and then Bruce Corbett died. I don't know. I'm not sure what of, but having some illness. And since then, we haven't heard from the boys ever again. Same goes for Bruce, who was in Rigor Mortis. Mike Scaccia was also involved in Ministry, the Rigor Mortis guitarist. And if you listen to the old Rigor Mortis albums, you can actually hear. That makes sense. And then you listen to Ministry, it's like he has a really fast right hand, you know, like yeah. So there you go. Anyway, now here's some for people that haven't heard Gamaside before. Really ferocious thrash. Oh, right up my alley. Love it. Love that almost practice room guitar sound, but or overall sound. But it's crushingly heavy. I prefer a production like that. We are way over anything today that's so overproduced. It's just, I love it. It's got that real, as if you would just see the band in a small club. So enjoy.
4.5 years ago, Earth was like this and you. Life was started to appear. Foxes were the clues.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that. If you like this series, there will be a next one, part 2. Do let me know, and give me your suggestions as well of what you think are the best thrash riffs out there. So enjoy, and if you feel like supporting my channel, there's a link below. If you want to support me via PayPal, it really helps me because a lot of time goes into these videos. So anyway, keep thrashing.